Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 94 in the book of Deuteronomy. How should I respond to God? Specifically, how should I make a response to something that God has shown me in Deuteronomy? And what do you do for what God has done for us? So we're going to look at a couple different ways. We're going to look at our minds in response, and our mouths, and our hands, and our feet, and our wallets, and our zippers, and our service. And we're going to look in those things, we're going to look with our words and purity and devotion and cash and service being the currency of the response. So we sit here before the book of Deuteronomy and before another encounter with the Lord. And maybe a couple things in Deuteronomy, we see the Lord setting his love upon us or dipping our feet with oil. And we find our feet bathed in butter, and maybe we stand on shoulders of people that feet have been bathed in butter, and these blessings have overflowed for us. The Lord has given us honey from the rock, as it says in Deuteronomy. And then there's this critical verse, I think, in Deuteronomy 26, verse 5, and you shall make response before the Lord your God. So the big point is God is at work, and we best notice it. But then the second part of that is, how do you respond? A response is undeniably required, not kind of this ho-hum, yawn, optional, maybe I'll get around to it later or never, but your agent. God has given us agency. And maybe if there's no response, then there's been no encounter. But if you've encountered, then you're agent. And I think that's the task that's before us here in finishing Deuteronomy. He wants to generate a response, not compel a response. So these compelled responses are from prisoners and slaves, but caused responses are from willing bondservants. So then I think we should, or the call is to make a response. So let's think about what God has done for me. And if you're not going to respond, let's just talk about the negative for a second. Why bother with these 7 minutes? Why bother with these hundreds of minutes that we've been through in Deuteronomy? The purpose is to make a response, to change our mind, realize and understand, maybe get some new light bulbs. So if we respond with our mind, then our understanding is the currency of our response. If we respond with our mouth, declaring, expressing, confessing, acknowledging out loud, saying, yes, Lord, you have been faithful to this unfaithful people so that you could one day be faithful to the unfaithful me. I owe you my life and favor and allegiance and words, and we verbalize that, then our words are the currency of the response. So we can respond with our understanding, we can respond with our words. So in those words, maybe you'll write a song, maybe you'll write a poem, or maybe you'll borrow the words of someone else who's written the song, a worship song perhaps, or a poem, a spiritually devotion kind of a thing. So the words, so this is the responding here, is letting your mouth know that your mind understands something, letting your mouth know that your heart understands something. So I've learned something in my head or my heart, and so my words are going to express that. All right, so here's another way. I've got 6 of them here of making a response here at the end of Deuteronomy. Make a response with your actions. Maybe it's going to the house of the Lord and letting your hands and feet know that your heart knows something. So every Christian should be serving in the church. Prove me wrong with that. So your time and your work is the currency of the response then. Perhaps you can make a response with your wallet. That's asked for time and time again in the book of Deuteronomy. Taking the first fruit of the things that the Lord has given you, and that's letting your wallet and your checkbook and your financial program know that your heart understands something. And in that case, cash is the currency of the response. So we can make a response with our words and with our actions, and now here with our cash. Or perhaps make a response with your zipper. Deuteronomy has lots to say about sexual ethics, and if yours are out of bounds, or dare I say when they are out of bounds, I can, with his help, make a holy response. And here, your purity is the currency of the response. Perhaps that's what Deuteronomy has said to you. Or perhaps you're struck with the intimacy and the presence of the Lord in Deuteronomy, it says the Lord surrounds us and that he can dwell between our shoulders. And he says of Moses specifically that the Lord knew him face to face. And in this intimacy that the Lord is demonstrating in the book of Deuteronomy, maybe we're making a response with our soul. And here, your devotion is the currency of the response. So what is the response exactly supposed to do? Well, it's based foundationally on what the Lord has done for you. So what do you do for what the Lord has done for you? You make a response. So it might be with your mouth or your hands or your feet or your wallet or your zipper or your service. And the currency of each of those is the words, your purity, your devotion, your cash, your service. Those are the currencies of these things that have been affected by the Lord. Or perhaps maybe this is just a wake-up call and to say, hey, watch for the Lord's working in his activity. Maybe he's in your lane, directly in the lane of your life, or maybe he's adjacent to the lane of your life. Maybe it is the adjacent people, the people of God next to you, that you see the Lord working, and you can respond from how you see him working. He walks in the midst of your camp. It's not just you on the front lines. He works in the midst of a people in the book of Deuteronomy, and he works now in the midst of a people in your church. So you'd best be associated with the people. And I've said this before, that there's no theological, practical understanding of an individual Christian today in the eyes of God outside the context of the church. And God saves no one that he doesn't put into the arms of the church. Prove me wrong on that. All right, so today is about responding to what God has given us in the book of Deuteronomy. What do we do for what God has done for us? We think about our minds or our mouths or our hands and feet, our wallet, our zipper, our service. And in any of those categories, we can use our words, our purity, our devotion, even our cash and our service as the currency of the response. My hope is that we do not respond to the Lord as we finish Deuteronomy, but we do what he asks in Deuteronomy, which is make a response. Thanks for listening.